Good morning everyone, I am Eduard Dida and today I am presenting our work on cable-driven parallel robots at the University of Bologna, the theoretical challenges analyzed in our research and some selected industrial application of this technology. My presentation introduces cable-driven parallel robots in general and then focuses on fully actuated and under-actuated ones. In the conclusion, two industrial applications studied by our group are reported. Cable-driven parallel robots are a class of manipulator which employs cables instead of rigid body transmission in order to move an end effector in space. Since long cables can be wrapped on winches and can be routed through pulleys, their mechanical structure is quite simple. They can be reconfigured by moving the pulleys, and their workspace is limited only by the amount of cable a winch can grab. In addition, cable inertia is usually negligible with respect to the carried payload, so these manipulators can perform highly dynamical motion. On the other hand, cable can only pull, and typically more cables than the end effector degrees of freedom are used in order to over-constrain the platform. Unfortunately, the more cables are installed, the less the workspace will be accessible. Thus, we studied fully actuated cable-driven robots, employing only the number of cables sufficient for controlling all the end effector degrees of freedom, for example 6 in space. We discovered that spatial cable arrangement, such as the parallelogram arrangement of pair of cables, can significantly simplify the control of such manipulators and reduce the degrees of freedom to control. In addition, by accounting for the end effector dynamics during trajectory planning, these manipulators can be as versatile as over-constrained ones. As an example of our results, this video shows point-to-point trajectories for a purely translational, fully actuated robot, which extends outside of the robot's static workspace. This is represented by points in space where the platform can rest with towed cables. The platform is able to reach each destination with no velocity, thus performing an instantaneous stop without tilting or panning or cables losing tension. Motivated by the fact that the crane is one of the most used systems worldwide for the manipulation of heavy objects, we also investigated cable-driven parallel robots with less cables than the end effector degrees of freedom, which are under-actuated by design as cranes. Their workspace is even more accessible since cables cannot interfere with each other. On the other hand, the under-actuation has two main drawbacks. The platform pose depends on both the system kinematics and its mechanical equilibrium, and the end effector is also under constraint. This, in turn, means that if a trajectory of the platform is assigned, its motion cannot be stopped at will, since platform rigid body oscillation naturally arise. As an example of our results, this video shows a special class of trajectories we developed called rest-to-rest. If kinematically standard point-to-point trajectory are employed, as in this part of the video, the end effector oscillates at the end of each segment of a trajectory. Our rest-to-rest trajectories, which accounts for the platform dynamics, can theoretically stop the robot platform at the end of each transition. Of course, in practice, without a feedback controller, minimal oscillations are still present because of model disturbances. Still, the results are satisfactory even without feedback control, as in this video. A first industrial application of fully actuated cable-driven robots is represented by our cable-driven laser scanner. A mirror mounted on a largely rotating end effector of a cable robot is used to deflect a laser measurement beam. The machine can be deployed on site and it maps the surface surrounding the end effector, which are then reconstructed with dedicated software. Then, in the context of Hephaestus European project, a knit cable robot was used for the assembly of a facade element. Visual feedback was used for the assembly of low clearance components over 100 cubic meter wide workspace. A camera mounted on the end effector in the upper part, which is not shown in the video, references it to the facade element, here represented in laboratory by an industrial robot, and only locally augment the cable robot accuracy for the execution of the task. Thank you very much for your attention.